calling you out, Ola, to some riffs. What's up, dudes? So, that little clip at the beginning. Yeah, I said it. I said, come on, Ola. Why don't you give us some of your riffs on somebody else's drum tracks? So, what I do have is the actual drum tracks. I have them in MP3 form and waveform. Not MIDI, just because I want it to be just the same track. You can do whatever you want outside of that. Go ahead and write some riffs over it, and everybody else too. You know, like he does that little challenge and stuff. You know, I'd be curious to see if anybody would like to pick that up and make a video of that too, so I can, you know, probably go through some of, you know, people's riffs. I love riffs, obviously, right? So I was kind of calling out Ola to see what, because it's his style, right? You know, I like Swedish death metal and stuff too, and it just had that In Flames kind of feel to it. I was like, you know what, I bet Ola could write something awesome to this kind of thing. It just had that like Swedish, like, I don't know what you call that beat. It's like kind of like D beat or something. But I just wanted to go through that, use this Randall, you know, because it's, you know, he has his Randall Satan and all that stuff. And this was modded by Amen Amplified. So he did the little bastard mod on this guy. And we're going to see if this actually, you know, fixed it. From me jamming on it, I don't know if I hear a huge difference. There's a lot more bass on tap, I can tell you that. I do have everything set up the way I did. I went back, looked at the videos, and I'll be splicing back and forth with it. Set up my mics to be right in the same spots. So I was using the horns of this to make sure it was in the same spot, and got the levels and all that on the amp, you know, the same. So I'll splice the video so we can go back and forth to see if there's a big difference. Now, obviously there's going to be a difference because you know, the mics are not going to be perfectly in line with what I had before. And you know, you move a centimeter and changes the sound of it, but we're going to do the best we can with this, okay? Yeah, definitely send me, you know, some riffs, you know, make a little video of you jamming to that little drum track that I created. Actually, it's a lot of Crim's stuff, so it was his pack. I just kind of put it all together, and that's the song that came out of it. And I was also using my baritone in C standard for that song, but you guys can use whatever. I would love to see what you guys do with it. And just tag me in the video, and so I can go and check it out. And maybe if there's enough people doing it, I can make something out of that. So all these songs that I make, just kind of like Ola, but I think it's fun. Yeah, it's probably copying what he's doing, but I think it'd be really cool to carry that on with some of my viewers. All right, So let's go through this. Obviously, I don't have the reference until I start editing this video. So we're gonna go off of memory and do the best we can here. We'll go back to the clean, overdrive's off. Another thing is I don't have my SD1 here, which is surprising to me. I'm surprised it's not over here. But I got the precision drive and I got it set up pretty much like I have the SD1. And you know, that has a gate on it as well. So I think I saw some in the video where I used it on both channels, but also used the onboard boost to get a good reference of that too. Okay, so that riff that I played on the video for the clean was that typical one that I do. This. So I definitely hear a good bit more low end going on here, which is a good thing. I do think I felt like I had to push the low end on that. And I did play this loud too, and I did have to cut the low end back, which is surprising for me to have to do that kind of a thing, to get it to really push through with the distortion and stuff. There's that. Let's go ahead and boost it. Like, even change the LED. Okay, this is a good way to tell what that boost is actually doing, using it on the clean channel. And what I'm hearing is more low end for sure, and maybe a tad more clarity. It's giving it a little bit of a push, obviously, right? So here it is with it off, and here it is with it on. It just makes everything a lot fuller sounding, which is a great thing. It just thickens everything out in a good way and pushes the gain, obviously, just a little bit. Not a whole bunch, but just enough. All right, so let's go ahead and go over to the crunch channel, or channel 2, whatever you want to call that. Obviously, this is a setup. I looked on the video, set up the way it was on that video, and here is what we got. It's pretty sick. I think that was one of the riffs that I played on that. There is a ton of low end going on here, man. The main issue that I had with the amp before was that it just sounded like there was a blanket over it. I can't really tell if it's a little more top end or not. So I'm having a hard time seeing if that's what's happening here or not. So let's go ahead and hit the onboard boost. See, what I'm hearing now is what I thought I should be hearing from a Fortin amp, which is really cool because it sounded a little flubby, I guess, back when I used the onboard boost before. And it still does push low end, but it definitely brightens it up a tad bit. I'm hearing just that clanky Meshuggah chug going on here. That sounds pretty sick. I don't remember it sounding that good. So let's go ahead and turn the onboard boost off and turn the not the SD1, the precision drive on. Oop, turn the guitar on. Whoa, did y'all hear that? It sounded like an alien or something. Huh. Sounds like too much distortion, to tell you the truth. Let me cut that back. I'm bringing the level back on it to noon because it was at 3 o'clock. That's sick. And now the onboard boost again. I wonder if we take the gain and bring it back some. I like that because you bring it back and it kind of drops the low end a little bit. And I had that gain pushed up pretty high. So that makes sense that they was bringing in more low end. But you bring that gain back and it still has that like Fortin sound to it. And I know it's, you know, Tony, you know, went ahead and modded this, but that is basically what he's known for, is making that really hard chug that's, you know, it's just that Meshuggah clank kind of thing that goes on there. And he does that for all of his stuff. And I'm probably going to get his Orange Pedal Baby here on the channel pretty soon to review that too, and that'll be a lot of fun. So I'm digging what I'm hearing here. So let's hear that again. Now let me show you what I mean by too much bass. I'm actually going to cut this to about 9 o'clock. Let's go bass all the way up. Well, I should probably turn the SD1 off. And I'll put the onboard boost on. I don't remember having to do that on before it was modded. So let's bring up, oops, not that one. Bring up the gain now. It's still, the onboard boost is still on, so. You see what I mean? Now that's a good sound right there. Dropping that bass to about 9 o'clock. And it even feels like there's still a little bit too much bass in it. So let's keep on going. That was the second channel. Let's go ahead and turn the onboard boost off. Go to the third channel, see what that sounds like. It sounds like it's cutting off pretty quick, in a good way. Like it's just an articulate sound, but it still has a lot of low end going on here. Even for it being at 9 o'clock, that's still pretty high, to tell you the truth. Let's bring it back even more. Okay, it's a little too far. Just bring it up a little more. Now remember, I am using the same guitar I did before too, so there's no difference in pickups or where there would be some kind of thing that would make it that much more low end going on here. So let's do the onboard boost. Hell yeah, there we go. Let's go ahead, bring up a little bit of bass. There we go. More gain. Yeah, now we're talking. With that added, there isn't a huge difference. I don't hear a huge one. But with just that little bit of added clarity, crunch to that onboard boost, and I do like that there's a ton of low end in this now that I can play with and, you know, go back and forth with using a drive, which I don't think this amp needs a drive anymore. I'm totally happy with it. Now those people who like a really tight tone probably wouldn't be happy with that, but once you go ahead, I'll tell you what, I got the onboard boost on, and then we'll go ahead and, is that the drive? I'm gonna turn the drive all the way down and turn that on and see what that sounds like now. Whoa. Now there's the Fortin crunch right there. Probably need to turn back that gain some. There it is, man. And I probably want to bring in a little more low ends, actually. I'm using that little attack thing on the Demon effects. Well, bringing up the drive definitely brought up a lot more low end. So I'm bringing it back to the other setting. Hell yeah, without the drive. Probably bring up more, drop the low end. Okay, so we kind of went through it with, you know, pretty similar settings as it was before. My thoughts on it, I think it's a killer mod. I think it helps bring the distortion to a point where it's like just a lot more modern sounding and not as flubby. It still has a lot of low end, and I have to really cut that back. But I think there is a clarity that wasn't there before, and I'll know more once I've actually gone back and listened to it and did a comparison to see if there's a big change in it, you know. So I'm very curious to see how that goes, but I just feel a lot more in sync with this amp now, and I'm loving how it sounds. And I definitely like this. It still is a little dark, but I think naturally just this is kind of a dark amp anyways, so I like to turn up the treble. Cool. Treble all the way up. Mids all the way up. And then even bring up the presence a tad. And kick on the overdrive. Now I need more low ends. And that's how I know the mod actually helped out a lot, because I definitely did not get that kind of a sound out of this. And I know I'm using the onboard boost, I got the gain pretty high, and I'm using the precision drive, but there was no way I could have gotten that kind of sound out of this amp, and I love it. That sounds freaking awesome. Anyways, that's it. I hope you guys got something out of it, and definitely tag me if you guys do something with that track with the drums and stuff. I would love to hear what you guys come up with, and just show me a cool video of it. You know, like, you know, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could be just your webcam or whatever on your laptop. I would just love to hear the kind of riffs that you guys come up with. But anyways, that's it. Go ahead and reach out to Eamon Amplified. You can get a little more details on the little bastard mod. He did a mod on all 3 of the channels. I definitely think it's worth it to go ahead and get that done. And he's only done 2 100-watt versions of this. He usually does it to the 45 and below. I think it's killer, and it makes this thing freaking rip. Anyways, DMD out.